Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and I'm glad to see everyone here. Everybody looks healthy and safe. Happy New Year. So welcome to the City of Hartford public comment. We normally meet twice a month, the first month of each monthly meeting. We have public comments. You can talk to us about any issues or concerns you may have, or even give us a compliment if you think we're doing a good job. You know, compliment is really appreciative. So we can do that. And once a month, as I said, you know, the first council meeting of each month from 5 until 6, we have our public comment time. So I'm going to read a couple house cleaning issues that I need everyone to listen to that we will address. We are broadcasting on our Hartford Public Access TV station on channel 96, which is Comcast, and channel 6032 for Frontier. The public comment is conducted in accordance to the following rules. Each person that comes up to the mic should give his name and address. And if you're representing a group, please let us know what group you're representing. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. I'm going to ask my council colleague if you will keep timer for us.
Sure.
That'd be awesome. Thank you. Yeah, let's do it all this on. Great. Yeah, so basically, when you come up and speak to the mic to speak to us, make sure you give your name and your address. And if you are representing a group, tell us what group you're representing. Also, when you are speaking to the council, please remember that you will not address one council, but all council members. And any person that's making personal or impertinent or slanderous remark, or who becomes boisterous while addressing the council, we will ask you to be removed. Tonight, we're going to be joined. I'm Council President Shirley Surgeon. I'm joined by Councilwoman Molly Rosado and Councilman Alex Thomas. Thank you, Alex. I just have a brain damage. On screen, we have Councilwoman Marilyn Rossetti. And I think that's it, right? Do you want to say anything else? Great. Most of our meetings are held virtually and also in person, just in case everybody wonder why all the council members are not here. You know, some people are running from work, and so it becomes, you know, trying to get here for 6 o'clock. And, you know, sometimes if you're not feeling well, you can still participate and also, you know, conduct business by doing it virtually. So again, we have 3 minutes to speak. We have tons of people, so I'm loving this. So thank you very much for joining us. There are going to be people who are going to be also speaking on Zoom, and so I'm going to go through the list. Again, you have 3 minutes. Don't forget to give us your name and your address. So the first person to speak is going to be someone in Zoom. And that person is going to be DeAndre Brown. Oh, DeAndre, you're in person. Oh, wonderful. No, there's a mic right there, so.
Well, this is my first time being here. How you guys doing?
Good, thank you. Who are you?
Well, my skateboard is my life. My name doesn't matter when I have my skateboard, but my name is DeAndre Grim D. Brown, affiliate of BLM 860, executive director of Fallen Angels Music, and I've been skating Heaven Skate Park since 2011. That's 14 years of skateboarding instead of being in the streets. That park and the community of artists, dancers, musicians, street artists, BMXers, and more. We need the state to help take care of the park if they're worried about people getting hurt. Have Block by Block put Heaven as a place to tend. There's broken glass. The problem isn't the park, the problem is poverty. And parks like this that get neglected but also restricted to the public you guys are supposed to serve. This park is everything to me. It's a historical landmark. The history of the park with respect to skateboarding goes back nearly 20 years. As many know, it was featured in several seminal 90s skate videos and established Hartford as the secret skate mecca of the Northeast. As well as professional skateboarder Ryan Sheckler came through. The whole Flip Skate team came on a tour as well as the bigger team, which also includes Tony Hawk's son, Riley Hawk. As y'all know, Tony Hawk invested in Heaven Skate Park, $10,000. And also, Brian Westgate's another pro that came there. We even have people who skated Heaven before who are now pro, as of Julian Lewis of South Windsor. Overall, Heaven is a public place, a public space where everyone and anyone is welcome, and I help make sure that every time I'm there, so many people that never knew of Heaven came, and it was like instantly their family. So I would love for you guys to give it a chance, see what you guys.
So Deandra, basically what you're asking for is parking and more safety downtown at the skate park.
Basically, we want the skate park unlocked, and we also want it to be tended to, as well as not restricted. We want to be able to throw an event without needing a permit if it's a public space. We want to be able to park inside to come skateboard if it's a public space. So that's what we're wanting, for it to be a public space.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, we're also joined, Councilman Josh Mitchum. Go ahead, Councilman.
Sorry to walk in late on you. I had child pickup duties, but I have a technical, practical question about the parking there. I know I've been there a lot of times, and I've seen sometimes people just kind of pull their car in any which, sometimes close to the entrance, sometimes a little farther over by the little building. Is there, do you have a sense of what, if there was designated parking that was, structurally protected from the skating area, how many spots do you think make the difference? Just based on you going there and using it.
Me going there and using it, I know a good amount of cars can fit there because we've had car shows also, I forgot to mention, where we have plenty of cars that park safely and nothing's bad ever happened to a single car.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next person to speak is Stan and I'm probably going to butcher everybody's name, so please, I apologize. Stan? Stan? Well, let's come back to Stan. Phoebe?
Good evening, my name is Phoebe Sabek, and I reside at 17 Schaefer Drive in East Hartford. Good evening, all. My name is Phoebe Sabek. I'm speaking on behalf of the youth community at Heaven Skate Park. This is the first time I've ever spoken in front of the City Hall, and yet I made sure to immediately jump to speak in support of keeping Heaven open. I'm 17 years old, and I've been skating since I was 13. My dad let me use his old cruiser, and I've been skating ever since. Skating has been such a large part of my life, letting me stay outside, make friends, and join the skating community, one of the most welcoming communities that I know. Skating is one of the things that has made me the person I am today. Heaven Skate Park is an extremely popular skate park and is home to many skaters. To hear that the park could be shut down due to concerns of kids getting hit by cars is absurd. The skate park is almost completely gated except for the entrances. If you are concerned for the kids, as you guys claim to be, or whoever claims to be, it is wiser to instead take steps to keep it safer instead of just shutting it down and calling it an eyesore. And may I remind you that this eyesore is a combination of multiple artists and cultures that have come together to not only skate, but present and create art. Instead of shutting it down, doing things like cleaning up the glass and trash on the ground, or even keeping the lights on for skaters are much safer ideas. Keeping the park open gives skaters a designated area to skate rather than the street. This is one of the few good skate parks in Connecticut, and if this park is closed at 6 or 7, or even permanently, people will skate, just not at the park. This will lead to Hartford police worrying more about kids being kids rather than real issues and crime. Skating where kids just aren't skating where they're supposed to. Heaven is extremely accessible for people in Connecticut because of the public buses. People are able to come from all over the state to skate there, one of the things that make it so popular and loved. It is a free public park, as it's to stay, and not be capitalized on. By taking away the park, you are not only taking away skaters, but also artists, communities, and childhoods. On behalf of the entire community, if you ultimately decide to shut down the park, the least you could do is give us complete transparency on the real reason why the park is getting shut down. Until then, we want the park to stay open, the lights to stay on. If you want kids to go outside and stay off their phones, give them a place to go. Don't take away the things that promote being outside. Don't take away artists' canvases and creativity. Don't take away the things that the community loves, because skating isn't a crime.
Phoebe, just a question. You said the park may be shut down. Is
Yes.
there notice?
We heard from the Department of Public Works that they were worried that kids would get hit by cars, so currently the skate park is locked. And there are police kicking kids out at 6 or 7 p.m. with zero reason. They are just getting kicked out.
Okay. And so you also talk about it being closed between 6 and 7 p.m.?
It is, the gate is locked as of right now, so nobody's supposed to be there.
I can provide some clarification. So police have gone in
Well,
to kick people out between 6 and 7 p.m.
oh, good. Are you going to be speaking?
Yes.
All right, so you can answer those questions. Okay, Phoebe, thank you so very much.
God bless.
Okay. Next person up to speak is Abibola. I'm not sure if the person's in Zoom or not.
I'm in Zoom.
Is that you? Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, I'm an artist and I'm an activist, and I've been going to Heaven Skate Park for approximately 10 years, and it's been a great place. I bring my kids there to skate as well. I'm just going for better lighting right now, and I find it's been unlocked for like the past 3 years due to us having events and things of that sort, and we never had any incidents. So to hear that Heaven Skate Park is locked is just obscene to me. So I had to make sure I had spoken on it to let them know that Heaven Skate Park should remain open and make better standards to make it more safer for the kids to skate at night.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any, okay. Jeffy Dress?
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm more of a multi-talented person. I went to Heaven Skate Park when it was like no type of ramps since like 2013. That's where I met pretty much all my friends, colleagues, dancers, artists, poets, whatever you could think about at Heaven Skate Park. To be honest, locking it and literally saying you got to be out at 7 o'clock is ridiculous. That's the only spot kids and the next generation to come is going to have for free to express themselves. I seen it, I've been there, I seen the way people park. They always make sure to stay away from the areas that kids are going to be at and park somewhere in a safe distance. It's if the Department of Parking wants to take it, it just seems like they're trying to suck more money out of people, really. And that's going to make it harder for people to live and be able to bring the kids out somewhere to actually express themselves. Like, have any of you guys ever went to Heaven Skate Park for a whole day, grab a can of spray paint and spray against the wall, get on a skateboard, try to do a trick or any of that? Have any of you guys ever done that or brought your kids over there to actually enjoy a full day of being a kid? Because if y'all didn't, y'all messing up. How many, like, raise your hands. How many of y'all brought your kids over there? I think I got 2, 3. What about the rest of y'all? Y'all lock that out, take that away from the kids, and now they got to transport to New Britain, Southington, Enfield, wherever that is a skate park for them to actually feel free and not pressure into doing other things that other kids are doing. Y'all want them to stay out the street, give them a spot to feel safe and free to stay off the street. Y'all take that away, y'all putting them in the streets. Y'all don't want people skating on your properties. Y'all don't want people doing artwork on public buildings because y'all gonna say it's an eyesore. That is not an eyesore. That thing has artwork from way before I was born. I'm pretty sure has a super historic value to it, and it's gonna keep going if y'all just let it be for the kids. Yeah, like, we monitor it ourselves. People who've been there and grew up has monitored ourselves, and it's been doing well. Y'all guys are now trying to take something away. Like, it's just like, as adults and kids, when something's going well and y'all just see something how to improve, you gotta take instead of watching it and trying to help it grow.
Thanks.
So that's
Thank
it.
Thank you. One second, Councilman Mitchum. Councilwoman Billadu, who is our chair of our Recreation and Parks Department, I believe you may have some comments on this issue.
Hey, Jeffrey, how are you?
Yeah.
I had talked with the Director of Public Works this morning just to find out a little bit more information here. And it is my understanding that it is closed off to cars, and that the park was closed per the dusk to dawn ordinance. So that's when the park is closed. I'm not sure if you're experiencing something different.
Well, there's a lot, we all experience something different with it, and we all see something different. We always get the information wrong. But if that's what they're trying to say to hide up whatever they're covering, locking it out is literally the worst thing you can do. Like, cars who travel at night, or if you need, to feel safe, it should just be open regardless. It's not doing anything. Cars are just going in to sit down and chill with their friends, talk, and feel literally safe. The moment of, I could say, like a space of freedom. So 7 o'clock, y'all lock it out, and somebody's driving. It's like, hey, I want to chill somewhere. Having skate park's not open. They go somewhere else, they're gonna get kicked out by the cops. Having skate park's the only spot that they feel safe. So I feel like you just leave it open. Just like leave it open for the kids and people who want to go there and actually just clear their minds. Like, I understand the dusk and dawn thing, but Heaven Skate Park's literally in the middle, and there's not a lot of traffic going in and out of it like that.
And just to add one more thing, they said they were following the same guidelines as they do for all the parks in the city of Hartford, so it wasn't exclusive to Heaven Skate Park in terms of the dusk dawn. So
we do have an ordinance on our books that all parks, the larger parks from Keeney Park down to Bushnell Park, at dusk, the park is closed. So please unless it's a special event and they get a waiver for that, but that is our ordinance and those are the laws on our books.
So you want us to have a waiver to use the park for events?
I'm sorry?
So you are asking us to use waivers or permits for events at that park as well?
No, so basically, say there's a function that's going on at Bushnell Park, and it's gonna go beyond dusk, they would have gotten a waiver for that event,
Okay.
okay?
But
all of
a
our
huge
parks are
crowd.
closed it's open from dusk
To
or
dawn.
dawn to dusk. Okay, I've got it the way around. So please understand that. And I totally, Councilwoman Billadu, who is the chair of that department, if you guys would like to follow up with her and have a bit, more time in a conversation, her aide is here. you know, and maybe, but pursuant to what she just announced, the park is not closed, but it's closed to cars being on that little area. Is that right?
That's what I understood.
Right.
That
But pursuant to what I'm reading is, this is the latest, the park is not closed, it's locked to cars. And I believe, you know, being locked to cars is for you, you know, all the young people's safety. Okay, Councilman Mitchell.
So I'm curious, I know when my son graduated high school 2 years ago, he used to go there a lot, and I feel like he also went there when it was nighttime, and you've been going there a long time. Has it always been the case that they were kicking people out after dark, or is that new from your experience?
nah, it's like been like an on and off type thing. The moment they're cool with people being there because it's public, everybody's being safe, and then something happens, and then everybody's like, it's a whole different, like, the Heaven Skate Park's just been a very safe place for like kids to come regardless, kicking them out and just like, hey, you had to go somewhere. It's literally trying to say, hey, get out my house and go on the street.
Understand? I asked because on my way here, I went through Pope Park, and it was definitely dark, and
Well,
no one gave me a problem, which is why I find this curious.
Cope Park, all these other parks are further out, bigger. Heaven Skate Park is literally right there.
I'm
and
agreeing
can
with
literally
you.
have the lights turned on for the whole night so you can see, like,
I'm just
literally see
trying
what's
to
in there,
understand
but
if
it's
the
not.
enforcement is new or not. I'm agreeing with you. I think it should be open after dark. I'm just trying to understand what has happened in terms of the enforcement. So I appreciate you giving me the information, and I
I'm pretty
appreciate
sure
you coming out.
they're trying to enforce it in a new way, try to word it differently so it could be something else than what it is. But like I said, the park should just be open. I got lights, turn them on, and yeah, I will see I'm pretty sure y'all will see a difference. It's not gonna happen overnight, but legitly, people who go there will show you something different. That park has been like expression for everybody. Like Corey Payne comes out of there and made that great piece for Nipsey Hussle. So like, close that out. Even if it's just for cars, who knows, later down the road, y'all might change your minds and literally want to change it to something else. Y'all closing that out is literally gonna set up for generations to be more active in the street than somewhere safe and located and y'all can literally know where they're at because it's dead in the middle. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, so next up to speak, retired Fire Chief Teal.
First of all, I'd like to thank the members of our City Council for the work you have done and for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Charles A. Teal Sr. I'm the retired chief of the Hartford Fire Department. I'm a resident of the city of Hartford, born and raised. My wife Helene and I currently reside at 145 Terry Road in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm also part of the team, including Charmaine Craig, Mr. Sean Rozzi, that put together the draft of Resolution 5.1 entitled Historical Impact of Colonialism in Hartford. Although our team was united in what we set out to accomplish, that which motivated us to get involved does differ. Part of what inspired me to be here today is the circus fire of July 6, 1944, that took the lives of more than 167 people on Barber Street in Hartford. That disaster taught me lessons related to the prevention of fires that I believe can and should be applied to the prevention of violence in the city of Hartford. Thanks to men like Don Massey and now deceased Fire Prevention Lieutenant Rick Davey, co-authors of the book, A Matter of Degree, I learned that according to a municipal board of inquiry established by Mayor Bill Mortensen of the city of Hartford, the police chief, the fire chief, and the fire marshal were all partly responsible for the outcome of that fire. Information of this type compelled me to visit the site annually. On one particular anniversary visit to the site of the fire in 2001, I was approached by Ron Bostow and his now deceased wife, Kathy Spada Bostow, who were honoring the memories of those we lost as well. It was this couple that convinced me that if I wanted to prevent fires, I would have to remember those who perished in the blaze. So I became part of the Hartford Circus Fire Memorial Committee. The memorial is built for the next 7 years, the number of fires declined with each passing year. In 2000, Hartford had 364 building fires, and in 2010, the number was reduced to 87. No one could say we did anything different except 3 things. Number 1, we educated the general public about the disaster. Number 2, we remembered those we lost. And number 3, we apologized for what took place there. In conclusion, it states in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 7, whatever a man is sowing, this he shall also reap. Well, we have sowed the seeds of violence, so we've got violence. Let's distance ourselves from the acts of violence spelled out in this resolution so we can at last begin sowing seeds of peace into deep, rich, fertile soil. Thank you once again for your time and attention.
Thank you, Chief. Next to speak, Raquel Calderon.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
I'm here to give you good news. I'm sure that a lot of people don't know about it, but I don't know if you found out that Renzulli Academy, the place that I work, was recognized as a Category 1 school of distinction in the state of Connecticut in one public school in Hartford for the first time ever. So I just need you to remember this good news. The reason that they have identified and recognized the school is for high performance in growing math in the state and ELA. Renzulli has demonstrated success significantly closing the achievement gap between the high and the low performing students. Besides achieving substantial progress from the years 2022, 23, and 24, Renzulli is the first ever a public school getting Category 1. The teachers are extremely happy. They were extremely happy with the principal. She recently resigned for this year as August, and that's extremely important. So we were happy. The kids are happy, we're happy. So the second thing that I came here for is I am highly recommending for the vacant position for the city clerk to Mr. Eric Lusa. I have known him for many years, and I am impressed by the way he works his work ethics. And I think that it could make an ideal candidate for that position if you guys decide to vote for him. The other thing is that I have been working, on the city hall for the politicians, and he's always been very, very good. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's been working, excellent, to my satisfaction. And I just wanted to please recommend, I think he could be a very good asset for the city and the public. And he's also very professional, and his verbiage is friendly, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up to speak is Judith Leonard.
Hello.
Good evening.
Thank you all for being here tonight. I am also here for Heaven's Gate Park. I'm actually from Windsor, but I love thy neighbor. I love this city very, very much, and I love community. Heaven's Gate Park is another place to be in community. It is a place to express yourself through art, and it's also a place to express yourself through wheels. I actually went there to clean up before the commemoration of the Martin Luther King walk last October, and the upkeep was pretty bad. What I'm here to speak on is the upkeep of the park. I'm hoping that the park can be as clean as Keeney Park and as clean as all the other parks that are in the city of Hartford. I'm also fighting for parking because it really is a place to be in community, even if you're in a car, even if you are on a skateboard. All the times that I've gone there, it's been nothing but being amongst people of different cultures, different ethnicities, and from different places. There are people that come from West Hartford. There are people that even come from New York to come and be in that park, and it's awesome. So I'm fighting for the parking again. I'm fighting for the lights to get turned on so that way we could be in the park even if it is dark. And I am also fighting to keep it open because places of community are incredibly important. I think that there should be more places to be in community where you don't necessarily have to spend money, right? Because I don't really think that's what community is really about. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next up to speak is Evelise.
All right. Thank you very much. I'd like to open by saying Paul West, Police Chief. Moving on, I'm here for Heaven Skate Park. And to clarify, Heaven Skate Park is the only public park in Hartford that requires paid parking. Every other park is accessible with parking. Heaven Skate Park has not been subject to for most of the previous mayoral administration to the dawn to dusk city ordinance. So this enforcement is essentially new. It's been happening the past couple months. It hasn't happened most of Luke Bronin's term. I understand Luke Bronin is no longer mayor, but we're talking years. My daughter is now 12. She's been skating at that park since she was maybe 5, 6. So I don't skate. My middle schooler does. You're dealing with a demographic of people mostly. So, I mean, there's like 60-year-old skaters there, right? But most people are pretty young. And this demographic of people will not be going home at sundown and are less likely to use night gyms that, you know, congratulations to the city on getting those grants, but they're probably not going to be playing flag football. They're probably going to be dancing at the park. They're going to be skating. So essentially you're giving people less access to the park who they don't fit in a box. We're talking, you know, people who are artists. Heaven Skate Park frequently has pop-ups with drum lines, food drives, clothing swaps, dancers, video shoots, some of which have been prevented due to lack of vehicle access. You shouldn't have to apply for a permit, which is what DPW is asking for if you want to hold a paint event. No one's going to carry gallons of paint up the hill, around the corner, through the parking lots. So you're basically preventing community when you don't provide this parking. We're talking a max of maybe, 4 to 6 cars? I mean, I know Hartford Parking Authority ain't that hard up for money, but nobody really wants to deal with them. We're dealing with a low-income demographic of people that, you know, this meeting was less attended because people were concerned about parking enforcement. So that's something the city really should be thinking about. We've been screaming about Hartford Parking Authority for quite some time. So when people go into this park for access, you're talking about low-income skaters, low-income dancers. Dancers and artists generally aren't people with a lot of money. I don't know if you guys have applied for a special events permit for even the smallest things, but if you're doing a pop-up with a drum line with 25 people, why should that require a permit? I have years of videos in that park, and it's just weird. Like, where do y'all want the teenagers to go that aren't going to be playing basketball and don't want to play football? We should be encouraging them to be in a well-lit place in the middle of downtown Hartford next to the police station. This is next to hospitals. This is, somebody calls 911, God forbid, you know, somebody breaks their arm, boom, boom. So that's gonna happen day or night. So that's all I gotta say on that.
Okay, thank you.
No questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you
Okay.
so very much. Japet? Japhet. Okay, we can always come back. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Mike McGarry.
Welcome, council people. I'm glad to see you all here. My name is Mike McGarry. I live in Woodland House. Oh, thank you for the comment.
You're welcome.
It's your welcome music, Mike.
I live on Woodland Street in the Woodland House, one of the finest places in America to live, just like Hartford. Anyway, I've been here since 1976 with a couple of years in Ohio. And I was back here in 1991, and as you might know, I've been active ever since. I was on the city council, and I'm on several boards. And I enjoy Hartford, and I like to work hard. Since my wife has passed now, I can literally give you a lot more, and I'd like to start with being registrar of voters. Thanks to the voters who voted for me, and it was very interesting to come up with such great numbers. Anyhow, so I don't want to be in the normal role of registrar, because I notice over the years the voting in Hartford has diminished dramatically. In the last 5 years, it's been actually, civic involvement has been very bad in Hartford. We've lost the Ukrainian home, we lost the Polish home, we lost most of the Italian clubs. My Knights of Columbus that I'm a member of, we had 5 councils, and now we have 1.5. So we really are headed the wrong way in civic involvement. So I'm going to do what I can to change that. One of the things I'd like to do with your cooperation, I'd like to put together a complete list of all the organizations in Hartford, because there is not one now. If you were to try to find all the organizations, you'd be very frustrated, because there's different lists and different organizations coming and going, and they change personnel quite a bit. So I've started already to put together a booklet we can all use. We'll have everything from churches to civic groups to sports groups, everything in one booklet. So it's easy for you to use, for me to use. The reason I want to do that is I want to go out and speak to groups and ask them to be civically involved, to register, to vote, and to join with their friends in doing good works. That's my goal for the next 4 years. It started already. I've been out there 3 times this last week talking to different groups and asking them to make sure you're registered, make sure you vote, and make sure you help your neighbor. And that could work. Now, it will be a lot of trouble to put together, but why not? And the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving is very interested in backing this program. I've talked to the Corporation Council, and I mentioned it to you. I'm not quite sure what it would cost, but they seem to think it'd be worthwhile. And the foundation may back that up with print and online materials. For example, if you move downtown, for example, from out of Des Moines, Iowa, boy, thank you.
That's your walk-off music.
And you're from out of town, and you saw that your father was a member of Rotary. You said, gee, I might just join Rotary. If you were a particular religion you moved in and had no idea that that particular religion had a space here, they may get that. Now, proof of the pudding, our great diversity, Father Tom of St. Augustine's, discussing this with him. St. Augustine's has 10 different ethnic clubs. Imagine that. And that kind of information would be in this booklet. So I'd like your support. But I'd like to also make a point. Some people say the Republicans are very few of us, therefore we Republicans should not be treated the same as our Democratic allies. Well, I'm going to work as hard as any Democrat ever has in that office. And I'm going to try to help that office in many ways, but especially getting people to vote, getting people to register, to vote, and become civically active. So thank you very much. I appreciate what you do. Matter of fact, Councilman Thomas, that used to be my seat back in the 90s. So I hope it's as warm as I left it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up to speak is L. Mix. All right. Thank you for helping me with that.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Lee Mixishan Rossi, and I live at 66 Humphrey Street. I'm coming here as an indigenous person from this area. I'm Mahikanu, Mohawk, and Cherokee, but I'm also coming here as a longtime resident and taxpayer here in Hartford for many years. And I have lots of relatives around here. I'm here to speak on considering the historical impacts of colonialism on Hartford. Colonialism, people like to throw a lot of terms around, woke, not woke, God-fearing, colonialism. Colonialism has affected us in so many ways that even now, if we don't want to acknowledge it, the fires, not only in LA, what about the fires that were here just in October? What makes us think that we're going to continue on with the intention that colonialism has left us? So it's intentions. And I'm just here to speak just briefly about the natural elements, because whether or not we want to be on the right side of history or whatever academic argument people might come up with, the fact is we have to live here on Earth. And a small thing and good intention from the council would be to pass that resolution. Because that resolution, even though it's watered down from the original, what we came with, it still gets the basic points. And that is the impact of colonialism on Native people, an apology, and just as importantly, acknowledgement of Native people living here now, alive right now, who are affected by all the problems that everyone else is here is affected by. So lastly, I'd just like to leave that, helping support cultural events. Like the last 5 years, I've been working with a grassroots group for the Suka'ag Harvest Festival. And we do it up in Keeney Park, and each year it gets bigger and bigger. So I just want to say, I think the city should be supporting moves like that, and also, this resolution, of course, and definitely more for parks. I would even expand it. How come we have the Connecticut River here? I grew up swimming in the Connecticut River, and it was way dirtier than it is now, and it's still clean to swim in because people who can afford boats swim in it all the time. It's just people have to change their consciousness. And that goes back to this impact of colonialism. It's time to change our consciousness. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Oh, let me also say, Mr. Roxy, is that, just want to let you know that that resolution is going to be going to a committee of a whole, which is just like this, for the presentation to be made by the retired fire chief. So would love for you to come back at that for the next meeting when we do that. Next up to speak is going to be, I think it's Manuel. Okay. Couldn't see your last name, Manuel. Quispe. Okay. You're welcome.
Hello. Good evening to the council. My name is Manuel Quispe. I am 22 years old. I'm a Hartford citizen. And I think first I would like to start off by saying thank you for your service and you helping out the citizens of Hartford. I know it's a sometimes boring job, but it's a worth job. It's an important job. So I actually talked to the Councilman Hernandez in the Puerto Rican summit about the interim chief of police. So as you guys are going to be confirming the chief of police, I hope that you guys make sure that this chief has 4 main things ready, squared away. So number 1 would be the polygraph and background like background checks. Now, I know nobody's perfect, everybody makes mistakes, but this shouldn't kind of hinder people, especially from people from minority, to go in and just to be denied because they failed a background check or a polygraph. Second, the current legislation discourages recruits, so police is a little bit afraid going into these departments due to the fact that if they do something, that they might get in trouble, they might get a fine, or they might get a lawsuit. Now we have to balance that between them doing their job effectively versus protecting, people from police brutality. Second thing, the low base salary for districts that are in need. The city of Hartford, I don't know the base salary, but I do know that other cities, other more kind of suburban cities pay a lot more for these policemen, and they don't do not that much. I lived in Hartford for 22 years, and the streets are very bad, and we need good police officers to stay here, and that means they need good benefits and packages, because a lot of good police officers are just going where the money is, which is in other cities. So that's for the police chief. The second thing would be students. So I actually went to the State of the State address where Governor Lamont spoke, and his main thing is cracking down on leadership of these colleges and universities. There's a lot of poor management and ineffectiveness. Like, there should be no reason a tuition is much higher here while other states are doing way better with more, doing more with less. So I hope that you advocate for reform on behalf of the Hartford College students, which I am myself, and I'm also a student leader, to just keep advocating, because I know you guys are already fighting for it. On a final thing would be increase youth civic participation. So we only have like 2 or 3 youth here, which I don't think is acceptable. And not to kind of do a little, like, clown a little bit, but not a lot of youth watch TV anymore. So even though this is like live streamed in TV, it's not as effective. So one legislation or one thing you guys could push is definitely live streaming it in more popular applications such as Twitch. And yeah, thank you.
I don't totally agree with you. But our council meeting and our committee meetings are live streamed, so you can get it on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, and all the other. I don't believe, Mike, I don't think you guys are on Instagram or Facebook. So our council meeting and our committee meetings are also being streamed. So if any of your friends ever want to go back and look at past council meetings, again, you can go to YouTube and pick that information up.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, all right, so let's continue. Curtis Thomas?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Councilman, Councilwoman. Thank you for having me this evening. My name is Curtis Kennedy-Wan Thomas. I am a local artist, and I am one of the developers for Heaven Skate Park. And this letter that I have here is not only a letter that has my concerns in it, but it has the Heaven Skate Park community concerns in it as well. And the subject that was brought to my attention was the urgent request for transparency, immediate opening, and continued operation of Heaven Skate Park. And as it says, I am writing to express our deep concern regarding the current status of Heaven Skate Park and to urge immediate action to ensure its continued operation and accessibility to the Hartford community. We understand that challenges can arise in running any business, especially one as vital to the community as Heaven Skate Park. However, the lack of clear communication and the extended closure are causing significant anxiety and frustration among skaters and the wider public. Transparency is paramount, and we request a detailed and public explanation of the reasons for the closure, the current financial situation, and the concrete steps being taken to address any issues. Opening and honest communication will build trust and encourage community support. The immediate reopening of Heaven's Skate Park to the general public is crucial. The prolonged closure is depriving Hartford's youth and skating community of a safe and vital space for recreation, skill development, and social interaction. The benefits of Heaven's Skate Park extend far beyond skateboarding. It provides a positive outlet, fosters community, and contributes to the overall well-being of the city. Finally, we implore you to prioritize securing the resources necessary to keep the lights on at Heaven's Skate Park. This iconic space is a valuable asset to Hartford, and its closure would be a significant loss. We urge you to explore all available options, including community fundraising, grants, sponsorships, and partnerships to ensure its long-term viability. We are committed to supporting Heaven's Skate Park and believe that with opening communication, immediate action, and a collaborative approach, we can work together to ensure its continued success. We are available to discuss these matters further and offer our assistance in any way possible. Now, since this skate park has been open, I have watched a lot of things happen. I have watched families come and bring generations of kids with them, and it was based on 4 things that I have seen: peace, love, unity, and safely having fun. And the events that has took place here in Hartford at this location has been nothing but that. Yes, parking was an issue at times, and we tried to find the best possible solution to make sure that parking was not only near the skate park, but safety as well, from where skaters can get to cars or whatever transportation that they was able to get to the skate park with. Yes, there has been times where teens have stayed longer than expected, but there was always someone there to make sure they had a place to go after hours and had funds to get home. I understand that it's in the heart of downtown Hartford, but this place, it draws a lot of people. It draws people from not only the state of Connecticut, but from along the East Coast, across America, some across the world. Some of the murals that you see on these buildings is artists that came from Heaven's Skate Park. That's where they got their start. You know, to keep from vandalism, they found a place where they can express their art. They can express their heritage. They can express where they came from. And I represent that. You know, I stand for that. I would rather for these artists to go to one place and spray paint all over a building or all over concrete or all over a skate platform than to go around Hartford and vandalize other people's properties that they worked hard for.
Curtis, we have to move on to the next person to speak.
Yes, no problem.
But thank you so very much for sharing
Thank you
your
for
thoughts
having me.
with us.
Council President, if I may.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Councilman.
I just wanted to say, Kennedy, it's good to see you. And I just
Good
wanted
to
to
see
say
you,
to all
my
the
friend.
Heaven Skate Park people, Kennedy, I appreciate the work that you've done, through all the many years. When I was a high schooler going to heaven, you were there, and I know that you're still there and helping out like lots of kids. And I agree with you that sometimes kids are there after dark when they're not supposed to be. I know I was, and people made sure I got home safely every night. And so I appreciate you guys, and I know that we're going to have some conversations to figure out what we can do to, help alleviate the issue and talk about it further, okay?
No problem, man. Thank
Appreciate
you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Downs.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Michael Downs. I live at 74 Rosemont Street in Hartford. First thing I want to address tonight is the vocational technical education and family consumer science, or lack thereof, in the Hartford public schools. For years, decades, possibly even centuries, or at least a century, this was taught in the public school system in Hartford and all the surrounding towns. About 15, 20 years ago, it was taken out of Hartford to save money. That wasn't taken out of other school systems in the surrounding towns and suburbs, but just Hartford. And it affects the inner city people, inner city students, especially the young minority male students. And I think they spoke in this last election that they didn't like the fact that generally throughout the country that these these subjects were not taught, especially in the cities. And this is where students get the basics to begin a career. Careers such as in plumbing, carpentry, electronics, heating and air conditioning, cooking, and tailoring. So I think that the city should be aware that we don't have this in our school system anymore, and we should get it back, and somehow we need the money. And certainly with almost $1 trillion worth of businesses in this city, we ought to be able to get the tax money. Also, I'd like to go on to address the impact of colonialism. And history is a subject that needs to be studied, should be studied, should be taught in the school system. Many times it is not, or not emphasized, but it's important to see the impact of colonialism on the present day, as well as other aspects during history. It's very important that we support this resolution. Also, it seems logical that the skate park should stay open after dark during the winter. I mean, during the summer, it's open till almost 9 o'clock because it's still light. But during the winter, it closes at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock because it becomes dark. And I don't think that's fair, and it doesn't seem logical. So we should keep it open. One more thing I want to address is it's important to register to vote. Important to vote. And so we all should register to vote, encourage others to register to vote, and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up to speak would be Bridget Prince.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Happy New Year. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I came to ask the council for a resolution. Last Wednesday, I spoke with Councilman Clark, Council President Surgeon, about a proposal to have veterans listed as a classification in the public housing regulations. So since that time, actually today I got a letter from Senator Martha Marks, who is the head of the commission, the chair of the housing over there at the state capitol. She says she has reached out to the Veterans Committee and also to housing, and also the Public Housing Authority here in Hartford has some leadway into adding veterans as a classification. I'm standing here as a veteran and asking that you really consider our class. A lot of us dealing with some of the same ills that people out there in the street right now and out in the cold, homeless, jobless, mental health, physical health concerns, and a lot of other social ills that veterans deal with. But my ask is, if you are assisting, financing, supporting developers with public funds, city funds, please consider a referendum or a resolution that these developers set aside a certain portion of their housing for veterans. I think that's the very least that can be done to help veterans. Because in my opinion, just saying thank you for your service, it's hollow. You know, action behind those words means a lot. The second thing, and I'm here with Attorney Cynthia Jennings. As you know, for the past couple of years, we've been dealing with the sewage, successfully, mind you. We're now back at the Capitol asking two things. If the city of Hartford, the state of Connecticut can vigorously pursue infrastructure funds so we can complete the sewage rehab. Because there's more than just those streets in the north end of Hartford that need to be rehabilitated. The system is 100 years old. It needs to be done. So while the funds are there, we don't know what's going to happen in Washington, D.C. after January 20th. We don't know if the funds are going to be there. But while they're there, we would like that ask. The third thing is we're talking about flooding. The governor mentioned, flood insurance. The governor mentioned last Wednesday that there's going to be flood insurance. And how and what terms and what capacity, I don't know, but we're also pursuing that. We mentioned that to state of Connecticut, to the Capitol, people in the Capitol last session, that there should be flood insurance to cover anybody dealing with floods. And a lot of times if you own a home or you own property, if you rent and your property is damaged, it's not covered by floods insurance. It's not covered by insurance. You cannot be insured. We see what's happening out in California right now. A lot of them people don't even have insurance because insurance companies pulled out. So we're looking to have the city of Hartford work with us up at the Capitol to kind of get those three things done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right,
No?
Happy New Year again, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cynthia Jennings?
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, I'm Cynthia Jennings. I was on City Council for 6 years in the city of Hartford. I'm a Hartford resident. I live at 86 Heartland Street. And I want to, first of all, congratulate Ivelisse Correa on, I know it's not Correa now, on the most outstanding wedding I've ever seen. Everybody who came to her wedding, and it was an open air wedding, everyone who came left with bags of groceries. I mean, seriously, I've never seen anything like that. And I really also join Ivelisse in supporting, as everyone knows, Paul West for the Chief of Police in the city of Hartford. Now, what I'm coming to talk about today is I'd like to ask the council to join us in standing with us at the legislature and actually making sure that we in the city of Hartford get recognized for one of the most outstanding programs and a potential national model to fight flooding in the urban centers. I think it's very important that we rise here at this point and ask them to continue to fund us with legislative money and to also federal dollars also that have to do with getting in the infrastructure money into the city of Hartford, because we have a lot of work to do in order to prevent the flooding and to also to prevent things like the fires that have taken place in California. I mean, some of those places, I took my children there. We've been on those streets. It is absolutely shocking to see this happen. However, 20 years ago plus, Dr. Mark Mitchell, Edith Pastana, Sharon Lewis, all the people that were involved in the environmental justice movement fought to have water put into the landfill because there were no fire hydrants, there was no water there, there's no water in Keeney Park, and I've always talked about the fact that the most serious situation we could ever have is a fire in Keeney Park. It would wipe out the north end. There were no fire hydrants. They have finally put fire hydrants in the park with with our work with environmental justice. And Dr. Mark Mitchell noted, he told me that they actually put a fire hydrant at the landfill and named it after me. I said, yeah, those dogs are gonna have a lot of fun. But the bottom line is that we have to think about what's going to happen to our city and what's going to happen to our people in the event of a fire. The theme for some of these things today has been youth, park safety, public safety, colonialism. I mean, these are all issues we have to deal with, and they're issues as to why we are in the situation that we are in now. And we really have to start addressing it. We have to support this issue on colonialism and any statutes that come out to fight what's happened to the people in this city. I'd also like to say that when we talk about the housing issues and the safety issues, we're also talking about the fact that our governor, during his State of the State address or his report on the budget, mentioned, like as Bridget Prince said, he mentioned public flooding insurance. But we have to be careful with that because flood insurance is purchased from FEMA and it doesn't cover your furnace, anything in the basement it doesn't cover. So what good is that flood insurance? So we're looking this year to stand with the legislature, get some money in, and perhaps set up what's called a captive insurance company to address the possibility of flooding and insuring people from flooding in this city. And that's what I'm asking the council to stand with us and do. I think that that we've gone through a lot in this city. We had the issue of the fire. Okay, nobody talks about that fire that we had, the circus fire. But can you imagine? It was 167 people that died? Greater than 167 people that died. How many people would die if Keeney Park went up in flames because of the climate change? So I also ask the council to join us in establishing the fact that we in the city of Hartford, through the environmental justice programs, have established the fact that that climate change was a reality 20 or 30 years ago. We were promoting electric vehicles and all kinds of adjustments in terms of our carbon footprint and how much money we spend and how much we spend with fossil fuels when we could be putting in things that will not destroy our environment. But now everyone is recognizing the fact that climate change is causing these floods, is causing these fires. And we have to be upfront and move forward. And as a council, you can present before the legislature on those issues. So I'm just asking that you take this into consideration and that you stand with us in continuing to protect the city of Hartford and also the youth of Hartford and the parks of Hartford and that we fight colonialism and continue to fight for democracy. Thank you.
Councilman Mitchell wants to say something.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jennings. Appreciate your words. you mentioned legislation to address the availability of comprehensive flood insurance. And I guess I don't want to get too into the weeds, but is that something like, is someone already working? Is that language that's written and there's someone who's going to raise it? Like, what's the status of that so we can know where to look to support it?
Well, the status of that is that the governor has finally gotten it on his desk. We mentioned it many years ago, Bridget, myself, and those individuals who are working in the environmental justice arena have mentioned that before. That is probably something that's going to be brought up this year in the legislature. This was a pre-legislative presentation he made, but we actually know that this issue is something that we need the city of Hartford to stand with us on.
Thank you.
And I will say that we want to thank many people that have worked with us. That includes the Speaker of the House, Matt Ritter. That includes Katie Dyke, the Commissioner for the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. And it includes Dr. Mark Mitchell, it includes Edith Pastana, it includes Doris Johnson. So many people have come forward that are working on these issues. We need to come forward and work with them because these issues are now becoming a reality. But thank you for that question. I will, when I get some information on that, I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, thank you, and yeah, you can share it with us.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
I believe we have come to, there's only one other person. Jalen? Sorry. But it was a Jalen who signed up? Okay, hold on a second. I'm trying to make sure I have it. Do we have her name signed up? Well, I apologize. We can give you 3 minutes. I apologize if I can't get to this information because I don't see your name here. But please come on up and talk to us. I don't have her.
Hi, my name is Karen Jackson. I'm a former councilwoman of Bridgeport, Connecticut. So I'm familiar with where you are, but I wasn't going to say anything. But since everyone else was, I said, why not mention it? But the reason why I'm here is that my son, Gabriel Frazier, I was on the phone with him September 24th, coming back from North Carolina, and the police were banging on his door and telling him to open the door, and he said no. I told him no because there's no reason for you to open the door. Well, we had a call of domestic. I'm like, okay. Wait for the sergeant to come, and he said he'll talk to the sergeant. The Hartford police didn't wait for the sergeant. They broke my son's door down without a warrant. His wife was right there. So there was no domestic going on. There's no victim. And then they had the nerve to give him a ticket for, arrestable ticket for interfering. Took him to wherever, half naked in the freezing cold. My son broke down psychologically. At 14, the City of Bridgeport Police Department beat him up while I'm on the city council. Beat him up. Okay, so at 14, now he's 21. So we had to move all the way here to get beaten up again. Well, prior to that, he got beaten up by Shelton Police. So now we're at Hartford, and now it's the same thing. So I was on the phone, and I heard everything, and the police officer got on the phone and said, your mother gave you the wrong advice, and turned my son's phone off. And then he had the nerve to call my son's sergeant in the Army National Guard and tell him what was going on. Okay, so I asked for a FOIA request for the body cam for all of the cops who broke it. I haven't heard anything yet. When I went to records, I said to them, I'm indigent, so I shouldn't have to pay anything. She didn't care. Okay, so my son paid for it. So that's a FOIA. If I'm indigent, and I'm saying I'm indigent, I'm showing you proof, I shouldn't have to pay anything. But I was forced to pay, and then I was forced to show my ID, which is a a violation of my Fourth Amendment right. I shouldn't have to show any ID. But that's what I was told. I've informed the mayor's office, I was ignored. My son has made a claim, ignored. Each time, we still have to go to court. So each time he goes to court, he's charging the city of Hartford each time he has to go. Because I'm very confused why that ticket is still there and why my son is still going to court for something that he didn't do. And my son has broken down. I couldn't be there. He's broken down. And I cannot be there but here. I'm doing my best to be very calm. But it's traumatic. For him, for me, I have 3 sons. And it just continues. That's it. I just need the city council to recognize what was going on. And please help. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, my son is being stalked by the Hartford police too. They were behind his house, behind his building, several times. I did FOIA request for that too. They were there from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning. Stalking my son. Every time he left, they were stalking him. That's it, thank you.
Hold on, Ms. Jackson, I have a question for you if I could. Just to help me and my staff to look into it more, when was the...
September 24th.
Okay, I'm sorry if you said that before. Of the last year?
Yes.
Thank you.
This is my son, Gabriel.
I'm Gabriel Frazier.
Gabriel. Guess I was going to call you up to speak next, Gabriel.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I just moved to Hartford at the beginning of September. I got my first apartment at the age of 21. I moved in with my wife. September 24th, I had work that night. We had an argument. Like my mother had said, the police came to the door. We both confirmed that we were okay, and we wanted to speak to the supervisor. They ignored what we said, broke the front door. They had told me that they thought I was somebody else, saying that they had prior calls. I had just moved in that apartment that month though, so they had already misinterpreted who I was. So they broke my front door, saying that was the reason behind it. I had no shirt on. They said I was going to jail. I was like, what did I do wrong? They said I was going to jail, processing without a shirt on. I just moved to my first apartment. I don't even feel safe. I lost my job. I had work that night. I missed work. I had to end up going to the hospital because they had the handcuffs on my wrist too tight. They're saying I have tendonitis. I have to see another doctor. And it was just a lot. So on top of having to go to the hospital, lose my job, like I wasn't outside on the street. I was in the house sleeping. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get ready to go to work. I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? They came to my front door, to my apartment, my name on the lease, and broke my front door and came inside and violated my rights. I have to go to court about this January 17th. To this day, they're asking me to agree to say that they have probable cause, and that's when they're gonna nolly my case. I feel like that's unacceptable. That's very unacceptable. I'm 21 years old. I could be doing anything else. I did 2 years in the Army National Guard. I'm just trying to do my best. I got married last year, February, to my wife, Jaylene, and I'm here just to speak on it. It happened on September 24th, and yes, that's what I have to say.
Okay, Jaylene, we'll ask one of the staff person to get your information so we can reach out to you. Okay?
Thank you.
Somebody can help get that information? One of the staff people will reach out.
Yeah, they broke down my door, exactly, yeah.
Seeing that we have no other speaker, I want to thank everyone for coming to our public comment and sharing your information with us. I'm now going to call the public comment to close. Thank you.